don't know, but it is a fish tank. That's for sure.
Hey, I'm going to go to a caller, gentlemen. I have area code 941. You're on the air. Let me see if I got you going. Do you hear us?
Yes, I'm here.
Very good, very good. Go ahead, caller.
Well, I just wanted to say hello to AC. I have a tendency to call in on his shows because I agree with what he says, and I'm part of the information outing, so to speak. And I came across a thing today that states that there is a crack that's developed, and it's not only widening but lengthening, and it's about 50 miles long. And the read that I got on that was that the thing, we've got probably till September before the, quote, explosion from what I've been able to feel of it. And I just thought I'd add that to the fun and games and, throw a little mix in there. And, anybody that wants to run with that can. I can send, I sent that out today, as I usually do. I send things over my network. It covers national and, all of the news media. A lot of the things that you have seen on line today that is relevant to different things you'll see on the media tomorrow, primarily because I kept sending too much information to a place, and so now I'm on a list, and there's about 1,500 professionals that go through the list every day, and your Fox News, CNN, and all those people are picking up on some of this stuff. It might only show in the ticker. Sometimes it actually gets on the air as part of their program. So that's, basically, I would say anybody that can evacuate needs to do so as soon as they can. I'm going to try to start that process next week.
Caller, can you point the people in the chat room or us in the direction of the information that you found as to the 50-mile long crack?
I think I said that to AC today. If not, I'll get it back up online and I'll send it back to him again, and he can disseminate it, or Kimberly can.
Okay. Thank you, Drake.
You're welcome.
That one.
Well, very good, and I appreciate that. As far as this 50-mile crack is concerned, Henning, have you heard anything about these large fissures in the seafloor?
Yeah, I've heard them. I have the videos too. I basically save everything. I have some 5 gigabyte of good stuff for later use or as proof. Regarding the fissures in the seafloor, there is absolutely good reason to believe there are cracks in the seafloor. We are talking about the weakest point on planet Earth, which they drilled into, and they actually did it twice. Already in March 10, they were reporting they had huge problems with putting down the cement slab because there was a reamer lying in the wrong direction, and they couldn't do anything, but they kind of just left it, and then they carried on to the next site and started drilling there. And the problems occurred there, and that's why I believe they actually went through the mantle. And what is happening now, this pressure wants to get out. And when we know the composition of the crust itself, we know it's brittle, we know it's not granite, and we know it's actually mostly comprised of sandstone types. Then there's every reason to believe that at some point magma will actually escape into the sea itself, and when water and magma meet each other, and if we're talking a 50-mile crack, if that is the case, it really opens up, then we will have what I also earlier talked about. Then we will have a tsunami, and then we will have a flash burn of people too. And with all this correction being sprayed in the ocean, first we have a tsunami, which is washing all these petroleum substances in our land. Land will dry up, and then we will have an ignition from the methane, which is also being released. And you can calculate the rest. We will have a firestorm. That's the worst-case scenario I see in it. But at some point, I really suspect that the seafloor itself will collapse due to the pressure coming from inside. At some point, it will have sandblasted a hole big enough for the water to get in. unscathed and hit. And when that happens, we will have a huge explosion at the seafloor inside the crust itself. So even the talk about using a so-called shape chart device of nuclear type down there, that is out of the question. That will just compromise the entire seafloor in itself, and then we will have a sea of fire, meaning that the Mexican Gulf would be filled up with lava and not water.
Griff, I just had a question from the chat room regarding earthquakes and the fact that we're seeing a lot of deep quakes, like 300 miles down or the like. Can you talk to that, seeing as how you guys do a lot of research into the earthquake phenomena?
Most of what we're talking about here, we have to speculate and we have to make judgments based on our life experience and what we know to be true. And what it amounts to is pretty educated guessing on our part. I agree with everything Henning just said. I think all of that is very probable. And for that reason, I would evacuate the Gulf area immediately and get out and stay alive and start life over. Earthquakes are on the increase. We're anticipating volcanoes in the United States to fire off. We're coming into a period like that. Now, is it the scalar weapon systems setting these off? I would say yes, in some cases they've done that. Or have they set off reactions in the earth that increase the number of earthquakes and the number of volcanoes? Could very well be. So we're getting into a speculative arena there. No one knows the answer, but it's happening. And I always come back. I always, after going through these mental exercises, I say, protect self and family. That's what we can do, and that's all we can do. We can entertain ourselves, and we can discuss these things, which of course is the mission of radio. But in the final analysis, the people need to get out of the Gulf, and they need to store food and protect their family, and that's the bottom line.
Very well said. Very well said. I just so you gentlemen know, because it's been a very easy show so far and not laced with the technical difficulties that we had the last time, I'm going through what looks to be a pretty bad storm that's coming down the pipe. So if you do hear me drop out or anything, John, please take it, because I probably lost power and it's going to take me a little while to fire up the generator. But
okay, will do. I would like to add, Joe, to something that AC just said. And I know there's going to be some people that are stubborn, that they're not going to want to go until the very last minute. If you're that type of person, call a friend or a relative that's not in the area. If you're down in Louisiana and you know someone, a relative or a friend that may live up in Maine or Michigan or one of those other states that's out of harm's way, try to make arrangements so that if something does happen, you'll have a place to go. And also, it would be a good idea to research your route, and not so much the main highways that are going to be jammed with panicked people getting out. Research a secondary or even a third way out and keep with you in your automobile, so that way if the highway does become jammed, you can find an exit and go a totally different way in a secondary road or even a back road to get to where you need to go. It may take you a little bit more time, but you're not going to be sitting in traffic on a highway somewhere for 3 days baking in the sun.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Egress is extremely important, and knowing your egress routes and getting familiar with them are certainly key, but the other thing, too, is don't wait till you're one of those people stuck in gridlock. That's for sure, because if you do that, then you're in a whole heap of trouble. And that's right. And once you can't get out, it makes survival just that much more dire. Your hopes of surviving are greatly diminished at that point of time, because you lose a lot of the control that you would normally have. I would like to say that